All right, welcome to a easy tree tutorial. So this is not like any tree tutorial that I have ever made, and it's taken me a very long time to get to this point, but I am finally happy to share with you the easiest way that I have found to make trees in an abundance very fast. And I will say, to start this out, we are going to have to make some branches. So in order to make this the most universal tutorial that I could, I decided I'm going to just go ahead and make the branches from my God tree pack. And I'm going to be using, as you can see here, the space slash rainbow tree that I just turned into sponge, the willow tree that I also turned into sponge, and then just one of the random ones from the oaks. I think that's 7 that I also turned into sponge. So all we're going to be doing, starting with this one, is making some branches. So we're literally going to just kind of cut off sections of this tree. Uh, and then we will click on those sections, delete them, we'll cut them, and then make a schematic. So in order to do this really quickly, I am using //cell fuzzy, and then I'm also using a power tool to go that does so /pt/cut. So I can just click and it will cut this away and essentially copy it at the same time. So we can go boom, boom, and now we've copied it, and we can go skim, save, and I'm going to call this branch m_0 because I think it's a medium sized branch, not necessarily small. And we'll go from there. So I'll go ahead and fast forward through making a bunch of branches in this way, in this manner, and we'll get back to how you actually put these branches on a tree and making the tree. So yeah, let's make some schematics. Here we go. So now that we have all our schematics, and I made about 20 of them, let's move on to this part where we make the base of the tree and, of course, texture it. So this is going to be just 2 commands. And the first of those commands is going to be an easy brush that essentially places all of these noodles. And of course, I will have all of these commands linked down in the description, and I'll have a document with them just in case the description ones don't work for some reason. But the first command we're doing is easy brush place shape, and that shape is going to be a curl, and we're just going to place it with sponge for now. So, and it's going to be based off our aim, so it'll tend towards where we're looking, the point of the tree. You'll see when we start placing it. And then the size 7, 50, and then 6. And of course, we can change these parameters to make different sizes of different trees. But for now, I'm just going to be consistent. And in reality, you can make multiple brushes with different sizes and just kind of go and, swap through those brushes. But anyway, let's go ahead and enter that command. We'll go and start clicking, and you can see this is what we start getting. And if we kind of aim more down, like this way, it's going to make the branch more that way. And we can just make some trees like this. So let me fast forward, just making, I think, like 4 or 5 of these, and then we will go from there. I'm not going to make anything too complicated. But yeah, here we go. Okay. And I will say, just before we move on, the downside to this is you can't really do branches sort of like this, because as you can see, it doesn't really go, it doesn't stop at the halfway point. It sort of mirrors itself. But it does work going from the ground up, if that makes sense. So again, there are limitations to these commands, but I think for what they are, it works pretty well. So I'm going to go through, I'm just going to get rid of some of the floating stuff and fix a little bit of this just by hand, because that'll help with some of the commands we're going to be doing here in just a second. And it'll make the overall tree just look better at the end. And yes, this is the only thing I'm going to be doing by hand, um, just because the commands, don't make it perfect, unfortunately. But that's okay. This doesn't take that long, honestly. Considering I'm making most of the tree with a command, I think it's fair to go in and have to do this. What does this take? 30 seconds per tree, maybe a couple of minutes in total. Yeah, not that bad in the grand scheme. Um, but yeah, the next command we're going to be doing is a texturing command, so that it ends up actually looking like these trees we have over here. So this is basically so that we can scatter the actual branches. So this yellow part around the colored chunks. Because we don't want to just scatter the branches around the entire tree. We only want to scatter the branches around, sort of the ends of the other branches, the main branches. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna go ahead and select all of this, all 5 of our. Whoops. Oh, we need to first have cell cuboid. That does help. Because we did use cell fuzzy to make our branches in the first place. There, our original branch M schematics. Okay. So first things first, we got to texture it, and that is going to be this lovely. So we're going to do an easy texture ambient with, we're texturing the sponge. That's just telling us that, and we're going to do legacy wool. So it's just all the wool colors, and then these end parameters here are just going to be the radius and then the brightness and contrast. So -2 and 0.265, which is seems specific, but it does work. Um, And as you can see, there we go. We got basically exactly what we have over here with all of these guys. And now I'm actually gonna just make sure that some of this bottom stuff, because this does happen every once in a while, we're gonna go ahead and just oops, let's replace these with white wool real quick. Um, just so that it doesn't scatter around the bottom with branches that we don't want. And now the really cool command. So this is going to be scattering with a schematic, essentially. So um, this is the command here. So we're just saying easy scatter the schematic, and instead of oriental, I have the wrong name here because I didn't put that in yet. But we are just going to go up to our what we named them. So branch M, and we're going to leave this little dot underscore dot star because the dot star is going to just rotate through all of our schematics, our 20 different schematics randomly. This is the wrong M. My bad, my bad. Minus M also needs to be changed to magenta because that is the magenta wool and the tips of the branches that we want to be scattering around. There we go. All right, let's go ahead and undo that. Let's go with a little bit more. Let's go back up to 30%. There we go. That works pretty well. I think this one on the end here looks the best, just initially. I think that one actually works really well. Let's just see what 40% looks like. Okay. This one kind of generalized in a weird direction, but that's okay. These ones actually look a lot better now. I think this would work. This will work. So we'll go from this. I don't love this one. Let's do like 39 just to see. Oops. Just to see if that changes this tree enough where it's different. Okay, it is different, but that's not. I can't win. Let's do 44. Just got to test out the different percentages, see what looks best. Because honestly, it's going to depend on the branches that you make, and it's also going to depend on the trees that you make. So if you make trees with less, initial branches, like you only have one chunk for every tree, then it's going to look different. But yeah, I think honestly this will work for demonstrations purposes. This is perfect. These are going to be beautiful trees. Um, so now we obviously have to make them all one color. So let's just replace 19. So now they're all sponge. And I mean, yeah, you can already see these are pretty good looking trees. I mean, like this one just alone looks like it could have been made by hand. Um, and now we're going to go ahead and one more time, we're going to do that same exact ambient texture command with the legacy wool. And now we have the ends of the branches again so that we can scatter leaves around them. I might change this one a little bit. Let's see if we can get the purple to be a little bit further down. So let's go ahead and change. Let's change this to 2.9. Okay, that did a little bit more. Still kind of want some more purple in there because the purple is what I'm looking at that's going to be scattering the leaves. So like in this case, the purple was the yellow, the sponge in these trees, and then I scattered the red around those. So just looking to try to make that as good as possible. I might just do orange and maybe I'll just reduce it all. Maybe we'll go to 5 and then we'll just do orange and purple. I think that could work. Yeah. Replace orange, comma, purple, or sorry, magenta. Same difference, right? With sponge. Okay, so now we have our branches that we're going to scatter around. And we can go ahead, doesn't matter. Actually, we're just going to leave wool there. And now, so this scatter command, unfortunately, it won't work with a big selection. So we kind of have to do sort of like one tree at a time, essentially, especially with trees about this size. So we're going to go ahead, select these trees one chunk at a time here. And then we're going to do this. So this is the scatter command for the leaf shape with red. You can change red to whatever you want, whatever block you want. That's just the block it's going to scatter around. Or not around, sorry. That's the block it will be scattering. And then the -M, so sponge, is the block it'll be scattering around. -O is just a variation of sizes. And then the -S is the initial size. So like 5 on the X and 5 on the Z, and then 7 on the Y axis. So like it's 7 long, no matter which way it's, oriented. It's 7 blocks long. And then we have -C, 45, so that changes the angles, so they kind of bend a little bit. And then the -N, again, is the percent that it's going to paste, and that has to be a big percent for the leaves to be dense. And that percent, if you want the leaves to be less dense, you can make bigger selections. So there is that. But yeah, as you can see, that worked pretty well. I think we could probably get better leaves out of this if we use different parameters. But I mean, you can see it did pretty good. So we'll take it. So now we'll just select the other trees here and just kind of keep going through them. So we'll speed through that real quick here. Show you what they all look like once we texture them, because that's the next step. All right. Luckily, it's not that hard to do that. Doesn't take very long. Now we can do a full selection of all of the trees. And now that we have all of our trees selected, we have like 3 more commands. So first things first, we got to replace our sponge with the same as the rest of the tree, so we're not leaving out the sponge. And now the last 2 commands that we have to do to make this tree. And I wanted to make this as universal as possible. So I'm using the default texturing, or sorry, I'm using default palettes, but in theory, you could use your own palette. You can make your own palette and do this just as well. So the first one here is going to be #leaf, which is just all of the leaves in a palette. And these parameters, again, just the range, brightness, and then contrast. And bam, instant beautiful leaves. And honestly, I could just leave these trees white and it would look pretty good. I'm almost tempted to because they look pretty good. But we'll do the last command for you anyway. And it's the exact same command, except we change red to white for the trunk and this to #brown because trunks are usually not green. And bam, instantly textured, instantly beautiful trees. And to be fair, you can make a lot of these trees really, really fast. And you can get many, 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 many variations of these things. It's endless. I mean, I've made 4 more, 5 more right here really easily. So I really hope that all these commands and stuff have helped you out. I will leave a link to everything that I used, including the God Tree Pack, which you guys are more than welcome to download this. It is still available with the Mediafire links that I think are on there on Planet Minecraft. You're more than welcome to use these trees for branches of your own and do exactly what I just showed you how to do here, because I love it when people have better methods to make things look good. And that's sort of the point of showing this off. I am so happy that I finally came up with a method that works in a relatively consistent way, and it doesn't take that much time, and they're still really good looking trees, right? Like, they got a little bit of messiness to them, I won't lie, but that's a style, I would argue. And in theory, you could make these so much more detailed easily with easy smooth blocks as well. There's just an infinite possibilities in these types of trees, and I hope that you guys play around with the parameters, play around with the brushes, and please share any of the trees you guys make with these commands, because I love to see it. And yeah, I'm finally happy to share this with you all. I hope it's helpful. And if it is, I am sure you know how the buttons work down there by now, so do click them as you please. Thanks for watching. Pluto out.